live streamers, you know the deal. Drop where you're tuning in from in the comments so I know we are live. And if you're catching this on replay, go ahead and comment #replay so I can get back to you with any questions that you have. For those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome. I am Tegan Bartos, founder of Jolt Your Career, a career consulting firm that helps people just like you land your perfect fit role with the goal of making more money than ever before. There's a little bit more to the goals than that, like value alignment, work-life balance, career growth, career slowdown. There's so many moving parts, but today in particular, we're going to be talking about finances and wealth in general. Now, I always love to celebrate my clients' wins, and I am beyond thrilled for some clients this week. So I am going to do some shameful plugs for some of my ladies. My homegirl down in Florida not only got a job offer at Amazon, she is also in the final running at Microsoft with a potential offer coming. Either way, she's not going to be able to go wrong, but I am so excited for her. Oddly enough, I have another client in Florida who's just starting out her job search after 5-6 years now of maternity leave. And I want to bring her up because she is crushing it with getting interviews. And it's proof that all of us mamas can take as much time as we want with our little ones and still get back if we choose to. And the last win that I want to share is perfect timing for this conversation today, because this client got an increase in base salary, $173,000 in base salary, like $200,000 worth of RSUs, and $70,000 sign-on bonus, 70 something sign-on bonus, and like 30 grand for school. This is life-changing. And not only is it life-changing for that client, it can also happen to you. So when it finally does happen to you, there's going to be some professionals you need to speak with, like a CPA for tax questions and a financial advisor for wealth management planning. And that is exactly who I've brought on today, is my own financial advisor. His name is Todd Trexler. And so without further ado, I am going to bring him on, and we are going to bombard him with all of the questions to help us keep our money and do more with our money so we can live our lives purposefully. So, Todd, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Tegan. I appreciate the time, and it's good to be with everybody. Great day, and looking to learn and be able to try and provide some value to as many of you as we possibly can. So really enjoy this together.
Yeah. So before I let you introduce yourself, let's go see who are some of the people that we are chatting with today. So Duran, he is in tech. Ooh, we got my daddy. Hello, all the way from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We've got Shadab from Mumbai. How do you say that, Todd?
It looks like Mumbai.
Mumbai. You know what? I don't know where that is. Excuse my ignorance, but I'm going to look it up on a map when we get back. Duran, I didn't realize you were in Chicago. On June 4th, I'm having an event at Topgolf. Todd, you're welcome to come as well. Although, Todd, I will kick your ass at Topgolf. Not on like the regular field, but
Right.
At Topgolf I will.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely all have to get together in real life. We've got some other people tuning in from Illinois, Peoria, Houston. We have Amanda, who just transferred out of education into customer success. So kudos to you. We've got Craig and Mohammed all the way from Afghanistan. So we have people from all over the world tuning in, Todd. So no pressure. All right. Yeah. So, like I said in the introduction, you are my financial planner, but no one else knows why I chose you or why I chose your firm. So give me the rundown, all of the amazing things on why I will not be able to beat you at golf, all the way to why Northwestern Mutual is such a fantastic company to work for.
Yeah. So we'll skip the first one, the golf one, but Why Northwestern Mutual? That's a good question. So, there's a lot of places that you can invest your money. There's a lot of great firms out there that do money management and wealth accumulation. There's a lot of companies out there that focus on insurance and risk management, and they're all great companies. We're not in the business of, hating on another one or saying that somebody's bad, but I think the value proposition that Northwestern Mutual and my team, specifically bring to the table is it's very comprehensive. So we don't just focus on just insurance or just investments or just college planning or just debt mitigation. It's very, very comprehensive. We look at all the areas in which we can help a client. The checklist in which we help clients is around 13 to 14 different things that they're going to have in a financial plan. Some are relevant now, some are more relevant down the road. But I think where families like Tegan have found value is really just around the comprehensive approach that we take. It's around insurance, investments, legacy planning, tax efficiency, and then also just leveraging clients' time and energy. I think that our most successful clients are just simply too busy to do this stuff themselves, and they're able to leverage our team to partner and make sure that they're still getting the stuff done that they need to, but don't have to put a ton of their time and energy to it, and they're still going to be okay. So there's a lot of great firms out there, and they do great work. Where our differentiator could be is really more around doing both of the pieces at the same time comprehensively. So it's sort of a one-stop shop for our clients. Northwestern Mutual is the #1 rated insurance company and the 4th biggest investment company in America. So comprehensively, they kind of sit on both sides of the fence in a very strong way, and we're able to deliver that toolbox to our clients.
All right. So there we have it. That's who we're talking to today. And before we go any further, I'm just going to apologize to everybody. I have felt like absolute crap this week. I got boosted. I took 4 hours to catch up on all of my connection requests and messages. I see some people sending me notes that I've missed yours. If I haven't gotten to your message yet, I'm coming. It's coming. Mumbai is in India. It's West India. I should know this. I'm going for a wedding this fall. I can't wait to see all the bright colors and celebrate the culture. But thank you for that. Luckily for me, I'm not the one giving the advice today. Todd is. So you guys are all in good hands, despite my brain fog. All right. So we just got out of bonus payout season and are heading into the summer season. And I know so many people who were really disappointed with their bonuses and have moved on and are getting insane offers, between base salaries, equity options, sign-on bonuses, like all these little golden handcuffs are being dangled in front. And I know some people who are happy with their sign-on bonuses and plan on splurging it this summer, and some who are, thinking about paying for their kids' college or putting some in retirement. And so with that being said, when you get a bonus, whether it be an annual bonus or a sign-on bonus, obviously they tax the heck out of it. There's nothing we can do about that. But how can someone make good choices on how to spend that money and reach their long-term goals with working with someone like you?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first thing that we like to do, can you see my screen?
Let me add it. Here we go.
All right, hold on one second.
I'm digging the casual vibe today, Todd.
Yeah, thank you. I figured be more relatable as opposed to the suit and tie. Also, a shout out to the golfers. It's a golf hoodie. But can you see my screen with the bubbles?
Yep.
All right. So the first thing we like to do for our clients is really figure out, obviously outside of short-term cash, we always want our clients to have the right amount of short-term cash, 3 to 6 months, sometimes even 12 months of cash in the bank. And a lot of clients that we work with, they have that emergency fund checked because that's why they're looking to save into other areas. They've checked that box, but we always want to make sure that, as cash is coming in and going out, that you have the right amount of emergency cash. Assuming that you do, and assuming that that is good to go, then ultimately retirement is really a pass-fail conversation. If you're saving 15% of your retirement, you're passing. Anything less than that, I don't want to say, it's really failing, like you're not you're not doing well, but it's really paying yourself first that's going to get you the results that you're looking for. If you want to really blow it up for retirement, we encourage clients to save 20%. So out of that,
I'm not quite there yet, but I do know when I am retired, I want to be living my best life.
Absolutely.
So you're saying I need to save more?
I think you're saying that. I'm just
Gotcha.
kidding.
Gotcha. Okay. So 6 months worth of savings, then start working towards, retirement. All right. That's where we're at for those of you who are just tuning in.
Yep. And then the way you might split that 20% up is work's going to offer you some options around, 401k or stock options or an ESOP plan or RSUs or whatever it is. But predominantly, they're going to give you a retirement plan, 401k, and that's either going to be pre or post tax. Most times it's pre-tax, which is a traditional. So we'll recommend our clients to put maybe half of the 20% in a traditional, and they'll get a work match potentially with that. So it's obviously free money. We always say the free money is better than tax-free, and tax-free is better than traditional. So to say that again, free or match is going to be better than tax-free, and tax-free is going to be better than traditional or taxable, essentially. So that's kind of the order of hierarchy.
So these are good questions to ask when you're going over the compensation package review, when you're getting these new job offers, is to ask, what kind of 401k is it? Because it can make a difference. What is that match? All right, I'm taking notes, Todd.
Absolutely. So if we can diversify half and half into pre and post tax, then the question is, where do we put the post tax money? There's not a lot of options for post tax dollars that are safe or that you can really park anywhere, whether it's safe or unsafe. One of the options we help clients with is a Roth. I'm sure a lot of people on the call have heard of a Roth. It's one of the most efficient retirement tools you can use. But it's not safe. It'll go up and down. It'll be volatile, but you should make money over time if you do it the right way. And then 5% might go into more of a safe asset where it just grows every year, never goes backwards. More of a supercharged type bond type account, but it's not a bond. It grows a little bit differently. But if we can have money in all those different buckets, some tax, some not, depending on where your income bracket will be down the road, now you're really in a true diversification spot. You're really capturing diversification.
Okay. So when we when it comes to going through our compensation packages when we get them, yes, and we've got the 401k, we start saving to, maybe we had a layoff and we had to use some of our savings to get us over the hump of that layoff, or maybe we're jumping from one job to the next job, getting, a really big sign-on bonus because they're cashing us out of the equity that we own in our company that we'll potentially lose if we leave because it hasn't vested yet. And then maybe, they're adding on some other incentives. So if we're good in terms of, planning out where to save, like, let's say I'm saying I am thinking about proposing. I just had the cutest message where this is the reason why this man wants to leave his job is because he needs to make more so he can buy a ring for the woman he wants to propose to. I think that's so precious.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to, be able to put our child through private school or something like that. When it comes to making those types of decisions, I know this, but for everyone else, is that something that we can feel comfortable speaking with a financial advisor about?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're always going to want to get back to someone's cash position and how much they're able to operate, because really our philosophy for clients is anything that they want to do in the next 36 to 42 months. So about 3 to 3.5 years, they should really keep that money in cash and just have it on the sidelines and probably not have it invested for something just in case the market goes through, a very turbulent time like it is right now, for example. So yeah,
that dollar isn't worth as much as it used to be right now. My God.
That is true.
Okay. So for everybody who's watching right now, we've got a handful of people on LinkedIn, a bunch of people on Facebook, which probably means I streamed on Facebook too. Sorry, Todd. I hope that's okay.
Oh, that's great.
um, who feels comfortable with their finances right now, or what questions do you have when it comes to different wealth accumulation things that you need to be thinking about as you're leveling up in your career? This is the time to ask them now without having to get on his busy schedule. So, for those who have just experienced layoffs, pivoting a little bit. So, we know, yeah, we need to save, we need to be responsible with our money, and we need to create a plan on what our goals are so we can use our finances in the most advantageous ways and park our money in places that are going to grow for us depending on how much risk we feel comfortable with.
Yes.
But what happens when we're laid off? What happens? What can we do with that 401k from that company? When we get a severance package, how do we look at our finances and maybe, downgrade some if the job market is difficult like it wasn't for some people in COVID? Their finances, they might have to pull back a little bit. Or for some people, depending on their skill, it was like the COVID job market was insane for them. So there's different sides of the spectrum. And so what do you have to what advice can you legally share for helping someone prepare when they're laid off, what to do?
Sure. So let's tackle the 401k one first. So, like, what do you do with an old 401k? Can you see my screen, the whiteboard?
Yep.
There's three options on what to do with a 401k. You could simply leave the 401k where it is. So most places will have a provider like a Fidelity or a Vanguard, or there's some institution that's holding the money.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you leave jobs doesn't mean you have to move the money. Now, sometimes they make you. They say, hey, you got to move this money within 90 days to an IRA or something like that. But a lot of times they don't make you, and you can just keep it wherever it is. And we call this the set it and forget it. So it's basically just the thing's camping out there, you leave it, and hopefully it makes money down the road, but there's not really a strategy there.
And sometimes, though, they can charge you extra for that because it's no longer employee back. Because that happened to me, and I was like, oh, this just cost me a lot of money. Let me move it.
Yep. And you really lack diversification here because nobody's monitoring it, and you're sort of stuck to the menu of choices that your previous employer gave you. And there's no incentive really for that money to grow by anybody but you. But most people who are busy don't really know how to optimize that growth. And that's where we can come in and help people.
Okay.
Option 3 is you roll it to the new employer. So if you change jobs, you could always roll your 401k to the new employer and have it all into one. So if I have 100 in the old one and I start a new one with 20, I roll them. I got 120 total in the new account. That's a better option than number 2. I think the options go like this: 3 is better than 2, 2 is better than 1.
Okay.
2 is fine. Roll it to your new employer. So you have everything in one account. The issue there is your new employer is still only going to give you a certain amount of options to invest in. Call it 80 to 100. That might sound like a lot, but in the financial planning market, there's 19,000 options to invest in. So 80 to 100 is just a select few. So you're still limited on diversification, but at least it's not falling behind, and you're able to drag it forward to your new life, your new employer, kind of have everything under one spot. The third option is you roll it to an IRA with somebody like us. So this could be an actively and passively managed account, but you're going to have true diversification here because we're going to build basically an all-star team of investments because of the blank canvas that we have. We're not stuck to the menu of 100. We have a menu of 19,000. So when somebody rolls over a 401k, most times, 97% of the time, it makes sense for them to go into number 3 based on the fact that they're not optimized in the other strategy that they currently have. And we see that very commonly when people change jobs. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. It's just people are very busy. They have very good intentions, but it's just on the to-do list and they never take care of it.
And that is why I brought you on today, because I mean, I've been doing this for the past 10 years and I see clients, they come back to me where they're, when I started with them, they were at the mid-level leader. Now they're getting into executive level roles. And it's great to get a bump in salary. But at the end of the day, salary isn't going to build wealth. And we need wealth to be able to live the type of lifestyle that we want. Wealth can equate to freedom, choices. And so there's no dollar amount on what that wealth is. It's all about living true to you. And so that, despite this being, no offense, Todd, a boring topic to be talking about,
I don't take offense.
it's something that's important, because a resume, like, people come to me for resume and, you know, job search coaching. Great. That's only going to get you so far. Doing all of these other little extra things to optimize your compensation package and the places that you pack your money is ultimately going to help you have the long-term goals that you have for not only yourself, but your family and your community and whatnot. So, let's see. Zaire says, we know cashing out is usually not a good option, but what is a scenario? But what scenario is a good option? Does this question make sense to you? Otherwise, I'll ask them to reword it.
Cashing out like a 401k or a work type account, or cashing out, I guess, what specifically? Like a retirement account that you otherwise would probably not want to cash out, but you are, or?
So go ahead and elaborate on this question, and then I'll pop it up. I know that a lot of the you know, certain different places where you make investments, you can take loans off of as well. You know, should you be in a position where, say, like a layoff or something like that, where you can, you know, pay it back. When you should not cash out a 401k.
Yeah, I think cashing out a 401k is only in an emergency situation, because, you know, if you touch it before 59 and a half, you got to pay a 10% penalty for accessing the money, what's called early. So it's an early distribution, because you really shouldn't touch it till you're 59 and a half. That's when the IRS allows you to touch the money before then. You could take a loan against your 401k. That's, I guess, a different question, but I would try to avoid never cashing out my 401k if I could avoid it. Like, that's in the worst of circumstances. Obviously, we're not going to choose not eating or having shelter or some of the necessities over having the 401k. But I mean, you know, I heard somebody took out money from a 401k to redo their driveway or something. I mean, stuff like that. It's like that.
That would be more expensive than taking out just a loan.
Yeah, that's just a no. Like, that's just a big red no, red X. Not going to happen. Should not happen under any circumstance, really, unless it's a big time emergency.
Okay.
That's why you have that cash bucket for your emergency money in the event life throws you a curveball. You don't have to access retirement dollars. You can let that money grow, and it'll be worth more down the road.
Ooh, I feel like I need to go take a time out and save a little bit more. I need to rethink some things. No, you taught me well. I'm in a pretty good position right now, but, you know, everybody can always be a bit more disciplined.
Of course.
Okay, it says, sounds good. I know full withdrawal is always an idea when leaving in a job, especially if they match the investment.
Well, there's a big difference between the word rollover and withdrawal. Withdrawal means I'm taking the money out and I'm spending it, or I'm taking a distribution. A rollover, or it's called in kind. In kind. That basically means you're taking apples to apples. You're moving it from one thing that looks just like this to another thing that looks just like that. They're taking a withdrawal is never a good idea when leaving a job if you're under 59 and a half. If it matching the investment, that would be with your new employer, but there's no match on the old one once you stop working there. And taking any kind of withdrawal or distribution would be a poor recommendation for anybody that doesn't desperately need to do that for something that's going on in their life.
Perfect. I'm loving these questions. If anybody else has any questions, we got a few more minutes. I do have a question. It's somewhat on topic. So for those of you who, you know, tuned in right away in the beginning, I made a golf reference because Todd is an Evans scholar, which basically means golf stuff, and he can explain it. But now that the golf courses are open, can you explain to me why so much business and so many deals are done on the golf course?
Yeah, I mean, golf, I guess two reasons. One is that you get to really spend a lot of time with somebody. So, like, one marketing thing I did last year was I printed out a lot of my A clients or B clients or people that I feel like have a lot of really good potential. And I said, hey, let's take these people and let's duplicate them and find more. So I took my golfers and said, come to the country club. I'll give you in 2 spots to Olympia Fields, and you can bring 2 people, whoever you want to bring, as long as they're people you feel like should be talking to me. And it was a really, really good marketing play. And I got to spend about 4 or 5 hours with these people before I ever talked any business. Like, I made it a a thing to not talk business on the course with new people. I'll do it with existing clients. And then I circle back, and after spending 4 or 5 hours as just human beings with each other, we realize, okay, we're just people. You need what I do. I enjoy working with you. There's synergy here. And it ends up being, it fits like a glove. It's just super easy. So I feel like, golf is a sport that most people do fairly well to play it because it's expensive. So I like to put myself in places where I know I'm going to meet people that are doing well. They have time to talk to me. They have resources to do what I am recommending them to do. And they can also introduce me to good people that are just like them. So, it doesn't have to be golf. It could be anything. Golf just happens to be a really, really good segue into getting to know other people.
So I'm not sure who this LinkedIn user is, but they said, I remember I was told to participate in a golf tournament so you can solidify your job. There are a lot of golf events. And so it's amazing how it can bring people together. And I think, Todd, you just so beautifully explained why. Because you're not there to talk about business. You're there to bond. You're there to cheer each other on, to have, friendly competition, and to spend an extended period of time genuinely getting to know other people. And that's so transferable when people are on their job search, or just when people are stable in their career. Anytime, whether it be golf or something else, that you have the opportunity to be curious, to genuinely get to know people outside of the 9 to 5, it's a beautiful interaction to see where there is that synergy that he spoke of. So, Todd's a financial advisor. He needs to be surrounding himself by people who, are doing well in their careers, to the point where they do have some savings to start making some wealth accumulation strategies, where somebody on their job search, maybe you need to go to a tech conference, maybe you need to join an HR association, and be surrounded with people who can benefit your career, and not out of some type of manipulation, but out of that synergy. Oh, I'm in HR, you're in HR. We both have something in common. Let's see if we should be in each other's tribe. So do you have 2 more minutes?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So here's a question. Older workers that are eligible for SSI and have zero income, they need to file it. But if the 401k pays less than 7%, get the 401k then SSI. Is that a question that you can answer?
But if 401k pays less than 7%, well, 401k doesn't pay a certain percentage. It gets a return. What you take out of the 401k is up to you. So there's a distribution that you can take from a 401k, but a 401k doesn't, it can earn a return in any given year, but it's not like, oh, it got 7, which is higher than my Social Security. Social Security doesn't get a return. It's a certain amount you get based on how old you are, and it can compound over time. So if a client's 70, it's going to be a lot higher than if they're 65. I guess I would look for more clarity on the question, but I think you need Social Security and 401k distributions for different parts of your income.
All right. Thank you. Yep. And then we've got Wesley. She asks, is there any reason to move money from a 403B to another location if you are in transition from the education industry?
Yeah. So very similar to the previous conversation around 1, 2, and 3, whether it's a 401k or a 403b, the example I gave around 1, 2, and 3, what you can do, that applies to both of those. 403bs are offered to, government employees, healthcare workers, etc. 401ks are people that don't fall under that demographic, but it's essentially, they're treated very similar. So if I have an old 401k or 403b, I have the same options that I just went over with the 1, 2, and 3, which is leave it, roll it to the new one, or roll it to somebody like us to achieve that true diversification. We can explain to clients why they're actually capturing diversification and run through the numbers. We're not just saying that, but that's how that would work. So hopefully I'm answering the question, but the same incentive applies to a 403b as it would a 401k. I think leaving it behind the scenes and not paying attention to it is not as effective as rolling it forward, rolling up the sleeves, and making sure we understand what's going on under the hood of the car, and how all the pieces are talking to each other. I think that's critical. That's
She
a great question.
says,
Great question.
thank you. That makes sense. So for any government employee, that 401(k), if they should choose to leave that industry and maybe go into like the corporate sector or something like that, they could still roll that over into like a different.
An IRA. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course.
I know that you're a part of the Emerging Leaders Program at Northwestern Mutual, and I know that being an entrepreneur like myself or yourself is not right for everyone. But could you just briefly share before we close out for people who are considering career changes and who do like a little bit of the stability of having a mega organization behind them, but also like the financial freedom that being and the time freedom and all the other benefits of being an entrepreneur. Explain if you could explain how opportunities for financial advisors work and what makes a good one, because I know from working with some of the other partners within Northwestern Mutual, some like you said, there was a former teacher who was a top ranking advisor. And so how does that all break down for those who are curious about exploring that career field?
Yeah, I'm so happy you brought that up. Two things. One, our door is always open to talk about financial planning. If anybody wants to have a consultation, it doesn't cost anything. So we don't bill you for our time. You might be intimidated to come in and talk about your finances. This is really a sounding board. So Tegan can tell you it might seem intimidating, but then it's really not once you get in here and start talking through things. So our door is always open for anybody that wants to talk, no cost. And if it doesn't work out or we can't partner together, we just part as friends. That's there's no harm, no foul. So that's number one. Number two, I would say that as part of the Emerging Leaders team and somebody who is part of selecting the top talent to work here, I would say for the right person, and I'm not saying right like everybody else is bad if they don't do it, but for the right person where it lines up with what they're looking for, there's not a better career in the world than the one that we do professionally. If you're somebody who is entrepreneurial minded, you like people, you like numbers and math, and even if you don't like numbers and math, you like to serve people, you like control, you like unlimited income, you like to know that the work you're doing makes a difference. I think anybody that travels too much, that is already in a outgoing or outbound role, but is limited, maybe the product they work with isn't very exciting, but the one that we work with is very exciting. I mean, people like that really need to learn about what we do, because the opportunity that stands here at Northwestern Mutual for an advisor is a tremendous opportunity, and it's never been bigger than it is today. The opportunity to do what we do as a career has never been bigger. The income opportunity has never been bigger, and the impact has never been bigger. The Northwestern Mutual is a Fortune 80 company. They're in the top 80 companies. They're a Fortune 80 company. They're a $300 billion platform. And we want to get top talent to come in here and change their life. It's like a golden ticket that somebody's waiting for, and we just hand them the golden ticket. But you got to come in and work to really prove yourself. But someone out there is waiting for this opportunity. And if you're in your 30s, the opportunity is $35 million, not in a year, but over your career. And that's not a lie. That's the truth. So we're willing to talk to anybody who feels like they are willing to bet on themselves and take a little bit of risk, because this is a tremendous opportunity, I think, for the right person. So I'm happy you brought that up.
Awesome. Okay. So to simplify that a bit, if you are not afraid to talk to people, to hustle, if you like the freedom of entrepreneurship, but still like the comfort blanket of Big Brother training you, guiding you, having mentors at every step, getting access to events and books of business and things of that nature, this is an awesome opportunity for you. I actually need to I'm going to introduce you to somebody after the fact. She's been in sales, throughout her career, and she's kind of, deciding what comes next for her. She's such a people person. She's fun, and she's thinking about moving back to Chicago. And if she does, she's not sure what comes next for her. And
Nice.
just as you were speaking, I'm like, oh, that's her. So yeah. All right. Brett is asking one last question, and then we're cutting it off because I don't want to go over too much with the half hour. But if you left a 401k some years ago, can you still roll it into your current employer?
Yes, you can.
All right.
You can roll it into your current employer. You can roll it into an IRA without penalty. Yes.
Well, there you go, Brett.
And I would recommend doing one of those two things versus leaving it. And if anybody wants a free consultation or a free analysis, one thing we do for a ton of people is we run analysis on your old 401k. So we'll say, before you move it over to us, show us a statement, and we'll show you exactly what you're invested in and exactly what our recommendations are. And if you believe there's value in moving that, which a lot of time the analysis speaks for itself, then you can say, okay, well, yeah, I will do that. But to answer Brett's question, you could do either one of those, yes, without penalty. You're basically taking two buckets and lumping them into one big one. If you do it at work, if you do it with us, you're rolling it over into an IRA, an individual retirement account, versus having it at work. But that's okay. A good question.
And how do I introduce people to you? Do you want me to give them Sam's information or your link?
You can send them to me directly. Yeah, I mean, if you have all my info, I'm pretty responsive, whether it's email, text, whatever.
And he sends you birthday notes.
Yeah, I'll call you on your birthday. Yeah.
It's the little things that matter, because with you, Todd, I've never felt like it's a transaction. I've always felt like it's been a partnership. And so I know, like, I'm a little fish in a big pond for the type of clients that you typically work with, but like there's room for all of us. So for everybody who's tuning in today who feels like I just don't make enough money, that's not the case. If you have a savings, if you're not living paycheck to paycheck, then you should be, if you're strategic about how you're running your job search, you should be strategic about where you're placing your money and how you are mitigating your risk should something occur to you or your career or whatever it may be, to make sure that there's that security for your family. Because at the end of the day, every single client that I work with, they're not coming to me to get a new job. They're coming to me to get a better life. And part of having that better life is mitigating that risk. And that's where, like, his side of the house comes in on. So Todd, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for staying an extra 10 minutes to answer everybody else's questions. There was lots of great feedback with thanks and so many gems dropped and all of that kind of stuff in the comments. So despite it being a really boring topic, 401ks and how to save properly for retirement, you helped people make better decisions for their future. So I appreciate your time today.
Of course, I appreciate yours. You could do my job. You're pretty good at it.
All right. So for everybody tuning in, I will not be going live next week. My grandfather is not doing well, so I am going to see him. But if you need anything, or if I haven't caught up to your messages from kind of being out this week, please follow up. The money is in the follow-up. I am not ignoring you. I'm here to serve you. Just give me a friendly reminder. So with that being said, everybody have a wonderful day. And thanks again so much, Todd, for joining.